You play ball like a girl!
Okay, so let's talk about college, because you said that college, they're probably going to have a nutrition plan or at least some guidelines for you to follow and everything. But let's first talk about the recruiting process, because I'm sure it's changed since I was in school. So when did you begin searching, and who reaches out to who first? And I know there was a rule change recently, so you can touch on that too if you'd like.
Before the rule change, the coaches would kind of reach out to us, and like I remember like I was in like 8th grade and we were just like in tournaments, and I don't know if showcases were a thing then, but they were, but like we weren't really going to them. But
well, they couldn't, like, we could reach out to them, and like if we called them, we could be like, hi coach, just letting you know I'm gonna call you at this time, and then if they answer they can talk to you, but they can't call you back if they don't answer. But that was until your junior year that you could kind of get away with that. But the recruiting, like, the rule just changed to where they can't do anything like that until your junior year.
Zero communication now.
Because the recruiting in softball, I don't know if it's been like this in all sports, it was ridiculous. We had 6th graders committing to Florida.
Right, I was going to say, don't they have commits for, like, graduating year 20, 30?
It was,
I think, Kelsey, when did you commit?
Okay, so the story. So starting with like 14U at one point was when we definitely like started our recruiting process, and that's just like when it all changes. So it was our first season of our 14U season. Like it was the first of all that, and I was just like becoming to be a freshman. And that's when, but before that, I would go to all the University of Oregon camps. I would always go to every single one. I'd be there, reach out, put all my eggs in that basket. And then eventually it was our last tournament of the fall. I performed really well at a tournament, and then so a bunch of these schools were reaching out, Alabama, Oklahoma, Washington. They're like, why, like, is she not reaching out to us? And then so Oregon kind of saw that, and then that night, me and Ava and our other really good friend, we were at the arcade, and and my parents were blowing my phone up, my coach was blowing my phone up. They're like, you need to get back to the hotel, because we were down in LA, and they're like, Oregon's gonna offer you. So my freshman year, I committed to University of Oregon, and then this last January of my junior year, I decommitted from there. It's not a super intense story. Like, I would always used to kind of like stray from like being honest about it. It just wasn't like, it was kind of like a mutual thing. We didn't see us like going along each other's paths successfully. I didn't have the best relationship with the coaches. With Pac-12 schools versus, I mean, some could be different. Like, top 3 in the nation is completely different than not a necessarily lower D1, but not Pac-12 school, different relationships, so we didn't talk as much, and it just, something for me is that I'm very glad that I chose Fresno State, because it's such a homely based environment. Like, we care so much about our families there, and I didn't get that homey vibe and stuff like that. So then I decommitted from there, and then I kind of went in a 3-day little rut, like crawled in my bed for like it was hard, because for softball it's one of those things where like you're pushed for your college, you're pushed for this, and once you do it and you're known for that, like it became almost like a part of my identity. That's like how people knew me, and it was like, what am I gonna do now? Like, what's gonna happen? But luckily, like on the team I was on, I had an amazing coach, and she really like encouraged me, if this is something you want to do, then you can do it. No one else is more capable than you. So then I went back to work, started working twice as hard at results, and then eventually during the high school ball season, I found myself absolutely in love with Fresno. So I committed there in July, and I've been in love ever since.
Well, congrats. I mean, that's so awesome for you realizing all of this now, because it's totally an identity crisis. I think that's the hard thing we face as athletes. Like, you know, when you have something taken away from you, especially like, you know, also too when athletes stop playing their sport, like once they graduate, whether they stop playing after high school or college, it's totally like an identity thing. So but I think that's so awesome that you realize, you know, like you guys weren't seeing eye to eye, and it's okay to make that change, and it's for the better, right?
It's really hard because of the fact of that it's just such a society thing that like you're worried about like what other people are going to say if you don't continue to play your sport, if you don't do this, because we are known as athletes. Like we are known as those really good softball players, but just because that's the case doesn't mean that if you don't love it, then what is it for?
Right.
Like this is like our journeys because we choose them, because we love them, and like I don't know.
100%.